Stephen
Bob.
Paul. I'm going to have to call him Stephen and you Steve. I think that's the only way I can do this.
Okay.
And I'm going to screw that up, so I don't even know
Yeah.
why I try.
All right. You're coming in now.
Thank you, Bren.
Y'all have a great show.
You too.
Thank you.
Come with us on a journey into the unknown, the unexplained, and the unbelievable. We will test your senses and challenge your beliefs. A world where science and religion clash. Or do they? You will meet real people and hear real stories, but you will not believe. You will witness strange sights and hear strange sounds, but you will not believe. This is the New England Ghost Project. Welcome to the nightmare.
The opinions expressed are strictly those of the hosts and their guests, and not those of the radio station or its sponsors. So, what happens when an Englishman, a Scot, and a Pole go into a pub? Well, we're about to find out with the new edition of Ghost Chronicles, the Pub Edition. I am Ron Kolick, and the Englishman himself, Steve Parson.
What's with the disclaimer?
We have to. We're used to on the board.
We used to, but then we stopped doing it because it was pointless.
Yeah, well, anyway. And also, our favorite Scott, the, what is his name? Oh, Stephen Scott.
Hey, good evening, guys. The disclaimer, Steve, is because there's now a Scotsman in the room.
Yeah, because we don't know what he's saying in English, so, it could be offending people. Just saying, it could happen.
Okay.
Also with us tonight is Bob. Bob is a goldfish, in case you didn't know, and you haven't listened to last week's show. He is a goldfish, and he will be commenting whenever Stephen Scott channels him. So I'm just saying. And we also have a friendly ghost somewhere floating around. So if you see him once in a while, there you go. All right.
You're just making this up.
No, I'm not.
You're just making stuff up now.
No, this is all true stuff. All true.
So this, Ron, this has nothing to do with Earthworm Jim.
Who?
Earthworm Jim. That's what I thought Bob the Goldfish was. Bob the Goldfish was a boss in Earthworm Jim.
Oh, no. We talked about this last week because...
Got Casper the Friendly Ghost now as well, apparently.
No, it's not Casper. We don't know the name. We're actually going to have a contest to see who can name the ghost. We're going to have people submit names for our ghosty friend. So I told you this was a really good, serious show. Anyways, if you don't know how Bob got his name, Steve, why don't you tell our audience?
Because all goldfish are called Bob.
There you go. Do I have to say it any better? No.
If you ask any goldfish its name, it will tell you. Bob. Bob.
Bob.
Bob.
Bob.
Bob.
Okay.
Actually, Rowan Atkinson doing that would be good.
I like you, young Bob. I'm not saying the next bit.
You can say it. Ron wouldn't have a clue.
No, I wouldn't. I don't think.
Anyway, what you been reading about this week, Ron?
Well, actually, I've been reading about dreams.
All right.
And I did. We did a show on dreams before, but we never had a true medium on board to let us know what mediums think about dreams.
Okay.
I'm probably the worst medium you can have because I don't dream. I don't recall dreams.
That's two different things you said there. You said one, I don't dream. You said two, I don't recall dreams.
Yeah, so let me go back to the second one. If I dream, I don't recall dreams. I have no dream recall. It's affected me my whole life. My wife tells me about all these crazy dreams she's having, and I have to just sit there and go, yeah.
You're not alone, Steve. Not for I don't recall any dreams.
Actually,
Perhaps the odd occasional snippet
Rarely. Yeah.
first waking, but
yeah, but the thing is that's a common thing.
Mm.
And the farther you get away from your dreams, the less you remember, which sounds kind of like ghost hunting, doesn't it?
I thought you were saying it's quite a common thing not to recall your dreams.
It is.
Is it?
Yeah. Most people have difficulty recalling their dreams.
Well, it's
We-
not just dreams. I have difficulty recalling what I was doing 2 hours ago.
I know
Or
that, but that's another story for another time. So this is 14 interesting facts about dreams. So
Well, go on.
what? And this is
Well,
by on RVNE Space, or whatever the hell that is. It's psychology is a topic of my space, so it's on psychology. An act of subconscious mind includes images, thoughts, metaphors, known as dreams. Didn't know I was doing all that. People dream about 6 years on the average in their whole lives. So there you go. We can't say dreams are a language of the subconscious mind. Here are some psychological factors that you might be able to figure out. So first thing is blind people can dream. Does that make sense?
Well, why not?
Yeah.
Because they can't see.
Oh, dogs and cats dream.
Yes,
Yep.
they do.
Yeah, but they also see.
But
And
they don't know they're seeing.
We only have their word for it.
oh no, Stephen has spoke to many dogs in his life.
I've
I think he's
spoken
gone
to.
out. I think he's gone out.
Do you
with a
know?
whole-
I actually find it easier to speak to dogs than people.
Yeah.
That different connotation.
Yeah, absolutely. I see more response from most of the dogs I speak to than I do from the people around about me.
Yeah. I've had nights out in Liverpool like that.
Yeah, me too. Not in Liverpool, but anyways. But the interesting thing about blind people, blind people who were blinded after death, in other words, after they lost their sight, versus people who, what do you call it, who were blind at birth. And it makes sense though when you think about it, because dreams are images for the most part, and if blind people have nothing to go by, then they can't dream, right?
I'm going to dispute that because I used to have a friend who was blind from birth,
Yeah.
and he used to describe the most vivid visions. He was completely blind. He wasn't partially sighted. I remember him saying once that if he was offered his sight, he would refuse because he has a vision of the world and the people surrounding him that he doesn't want destroyed.
So he's created his own world, basically.
Yeah, but it's a visual world inside his
Mhm.
because the
Is-
only thing that being blind means is that your visual sensor, the eyeball
Yeah.
or the optic nerve is damaged, but the visual processing part of the brain normally is fine.
Mhm.
So that's the part that creates the image rather than the eye, which just gathers light, and the optic nerve, which just forwards it onto the visual processing cortex of the brain, aka paravision.
So
Which is true, because otherwise people who were visually impaired from birth would never be able to learn, because they would, for most people who are visually normal, I'll use that term, I don't like using it, that would mean that the only way to learn is through your visual cortex, which is not true. You can actually learn through other ways and means, and your
Yeah.
brain can fill in the gaps.
So
wait,
it
what do you
would be
mean
a
you can
fallacy
learn?
to
Wait,
say
you can learn what though?
no, but
Everything.
it's a fallacy to say, and it's wrong to say that people blind from birth don't dream.
I didn't say this. I'm just the messenger. Don't shoot me. Well, that way. I mean, and quite frankly,
Their
and-
visions might be different than ours because or from someone who was blinded later in life,
Mhm.
because the reference point is different.
do they describe their dreams other words, how did he describe your friend describe his dreams to you,
No,
Steve?
he described what he said was he had created a visual world of a vision of his world and the people that inhabit it that he didn't want destroying.
Yeah, so we really don't know if. Well, I guess we do. If he's,
I mean, he's never seen color. He's never seen red, green, blue, but he understands. He understands because people have described it to him. So he's created a color based upon a visual description.
That's really fascinating as well, Steve, because I've met a couple of people who have actual color blindness as part of their visual, I'll call it impairment. And when they look at something red, they can tell me it's red because they've been told that's the color red. But how they perceive that color could be how I perceive the color green. But they know it's red because they've been told it's red, even though they might see a different color to the world.
Yeah.
And that absolutely blew my mind when someone first told me that.
No, that makes sense, actually. I mean, isn't that how we learn everything? I mean, we don't.
One of my friends is severely colorblind, and he sees red and green as shades of brown, but he can tell whether it's a red shade of brown or a green shade of brown, if that makes sense. But he has no reference other than what he's learned.
Interesting.
He learned that from traffic lights and cars,
which would be important.
Very few brown cars.
The interesting thing as well, if people who like, for instance, remote view, can they be blind? People who do astral projection, can they be blind?
There's a number of blind mediums who.
Well, I don't count mediums. It's not like it's a real.
Well, if they're doing astral projection, then by definition, they come under that grouping.
Not necessarily, because a medium.
There's actually.
Well, let's get Steve's take on it.
Yeah, there's actually cultures to where if someone was born blind, it was seen as a gift of sight into the other world, the other realm. That's why they were deprived of sight in this life. And those individuals were more than capable of growing up to be seers or whatever. People who could theoretically predict the future, that type of thing. So there's no reason why they couldn't, because everyone will create their own impressions from other tactile senses. Your eyesight is only one aspect of your vision. If I can quote from the great sage Obi-Wan Kenobi, your eyes will deceive you. Don't trust them.
We know that. Yeah, I think you'll have a total agreement between the three of us on that one.
Absolutely. It's what the Obi-Wan Kenobi is a great sage. Absolutely. And but there are cultures out there to whom being born blind was seen as a gift for something else for you to have. And it was admonished rather than, rejected.
Admonished means to be put down. Means bad.
But moreover, you've also got historical references to blind seers. I can't remember the name of. There was a Greek one who was blinded but given but granted the vision to see the future. And there were others. I can't remember the Brahan seer. The Brahan seer.
The Brahan seer, yeah.
He was blind, wasn't he?
I can't remember. No, I don't think he was, Steve.
No?
I honestly can't remember.
Oh, you had people like Edward Casey that would go into sleep to do their predictions. But that's not quite the same thing, though. Just because you see in the future is not necessarily, I don't know. It's confusing.
No, he wasn't. The Brahan seer wasn't blind.
I did think he was, because there was that whole thing that happened up at one of the castles where he came up to the door and knocked on the door and everything. Difficult to do at that point.
Well, unless you're the guy from Rogue One, then
I'm going to say his name's Chimit Imri, or Imwe, but that's just giving away again more of my Star Wars geekness.
Yeah, he was a cool character. Anyways, all right. So I think we can put that to bed, I believe, right? We good with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We've killed
Bob
that.
agrees. I just want to point that out.
Yeah.
You
We've
what?
killed.
Bob agrees.
Oh, does
Put
he?
that on
Oh,
the
thank God.
Absolutely.
Bob spoke up. Yeah. Mm.
At least I think he did.
Well,
Bob.
so anyways, that's good. Do you know your mind is more active during dreaming than when you're awake? When we sleep at night, our conscious mind takes a rest, but our subconscious mind always works the whole day and continues. And so whatever you observe, gather, feel in your mind after sleeping, the subconscious mind starts to organize them. We know this as an action dream. Oh my God, this sounds like corporate. Our subconscious mind can take every single thing, whatever you see, whatever you feel, whatever you imagine, when you awake, and there you go. It redoes it and organizes it. There is a heavy crowd of people, shops, and your conscious mind will not even notice, but your subconscious is taking everything in pictures and circumstances. That's why we can remember. That's why we call it remembering in the daytime and little time to categorize activity because we're so busy. But at night, we do it all the time. So that kind of makes sense, actually, right? No?
I don't know. I'm asleep.
Yeah, it kind of makes perfect sense when you
'Cause
think about it. If I mean, our brains are basically just very small biological supercomputers, and let's face it, when does your computer do its backup?
yeah, it's true.
Does it on downtime?
Yeah, it's true. It's very true. Except
More importantly, I mean, other important parts of your body don't shut off when you go to sleep. You still breathe. That's being controlled by your brain.
do we really?
You, there's lots of things that you still move. Your brain is obviously still doing something if you're still breathing and your heart's beating because those actions are triggered by brain function.
Mm.
So if your brain just went to sleep and said, I mean, there are people who legitimately stop breathing and could potentially die when they go to sleep, and they have to have.
That's sleep apnea, right?
No. I'm talking. Well, yeah, but I'm talking about assisted breathing systems.
Yeah. But there
not
is sleep
the
apnea
ones.
too. Some people will stop breathing.
Well, there are people who medically they develop secondary conditions and require positive ventilation at night, CPAP. But there are, a number of people who just spontaneously, the brain partially shuts down, they go to sleep and they stop breathing.
For the same way that people report, being held down in bed and having their limbs controlled by some other being, when really it's invariably just parts of your brain shutting down, and dealing with other stuff during the night.
That's your body shutting down.
Or sleep paralysis. That's the word I was looking for.
Actually, there's a neat trick that your brain does. When you're falling asleep at the moment, or as you approach the moment of sleep, which incidentally is the only function of normal everyday living where in order to make it happen, you have to pretend to make it happen.
I beg your pardon.
In order to go to sleep, you have to pretend to go to sleep.
What?
Yeah, you basically have to pretend you're dying every night so you can lie down and your brain can shut off when you think about it.
You have to pretend to go to sleep to go to sleep.
I don't have to pretend. I just go to sleep.
That doesn't, yeah. Normally at night, it's one of those quirks of being human that we have to pretend or go through the motions of going to sleep. We have to pretend we shut our eyes and we lie quietly pretending to be asleep in order to go to sleep. It's kind of like how we tell the
Now,
brain.
that's just a comparison. I don't think it's a real
No,
thing.
no. It's how we tell the brain to shut up and let us go to sleep.
Well, how come people can fall asleep standing up?
People fall asleep watching the television.
Exactly.
People fall asleep listening to Ghost Chronicles International.
All the time.
Only the Next Generation show.
No, it's that English drawl that drives people asleep. So we talked
I'm
about
Kieran O'Keefe.
premonition dreams a little bit. A premonition dream refers to a strong feeling that something is going to happen, especially something unpleasant. There are a lot of examples of premonition. Mark Twain saw his brother's death in his dream. Abraham Lincoln saw his death. Uh, you know, 19 people foresaw the sinking of the Titanic when it wasn't even left for a journey. It hadn't even gone yet. So it's kind of like a sixth sense, right? That premonition comes in dream time. Sort of
Well,
like Edgar Casey, right? Isn't that what Edgar Casey did?
Didn't that also happen with DNA?
With who?
DNA.
DNA?
The discovery of the double helix. The guy that
Oh
one
yeah,
of them
yeah. Okay. I
dreamt of
wasn't
two
sure.
snakes curling around one another, and he went, "Oh, it's a double helix."
So is that not just the brain processing then, rather than
Possibly.
premonition? When you mix
Well,
processing with circumstance and serendipity, even, you may it's very easy then to make that link towards some sort of premonition.
I think you're absolutely right, but he described it as he'd been worrying about the problem, trying to describe how the DNA molecule went together,
Mhm.
and he dreamt of two snakes twining around one another, and woke up in the morning and went, "That's how it does it. It's a double helix."
Yep. The guy that invented that came up with the periodic table of elements. I did the same thing. Tesla got his idea for alternating current through dreams.
Mhm.
You're talking about James Watson, the DNA double helix. And also, the idea of Google came from the co-founder in a dream when he was 22 years old. And a graduate of Stanford, he was stuck at the middle of night with the vision that he helped him to invent Google. So it came up
So
with that.
isn't it very almost upsetting then to think that if this is a process that we can do, that every single human being theoretically on the planet has the capability to process things that will improve and better mankind. And yet, what we tend to remember is whether or not someone was dancing about the bedroom in a tutu before doing a handstand and jumping out a window from our dreams.
Mm. Yeah, the
Whereas
thing is, maybe we do. Maybe we do. Maybe every day
we
that
solve everything.
maybe every day we have those type of things, but we just don't. It doesn't compute. We dismiss them, or we can't remember them. One or the other.
Well, psychologists have looked at this for a long time, haven't they? In fact, up in New York at Maimonides, they set up a long-term dream lab where they were testing whether dreams could be related to ESP.
And
And as far as I remember, there were a number of very positive outcomes in terms of dreams relating to events that weren't known to the dreamer.
okay. So
I mean, all this took place, just up the road or just down the road from you.
mhm.
Maimonides is in New York, and then it was all run by Yale psychology department, if I remember rightly. And they're psychologists, so they do everything statistically, and then they do a different analyses of that. And if I remember I don't remember much, but if I remember it correctly, it was Dean Radin who did all the parapsychologist Dean Radin, and he found that there was a success rate that was statistically significantly higher than pure chance.
Interesting.
Steve, can I throw a question to you?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You can't throw a question to him. You can throw a question out there.
I'll throw a question out there then and see what you both think. But it's just well Steve had the mic. With the advancement of modern technology, then historical parapsychological research like that, people didn't have access to the same levels of consistent information overflow. that we do now. So when you're doing any type of those sort of modern psychological experiments, do you think it's become more difficult to know whether or not people have subconsciously absorbed information that they might not even understand have retained themselves, so that when that information comes out, it can then lead to a kind of imbalance in whether or not someone has seen or had an experience or even provided any kind of information when it's something, because we're just so overloaded with data nowadays.
I think that's highly likely because we absorb huge, as you say, huge amounts of information without consciously realizing that we're absorbing it.
Yeah, we
Whereas
brought that up in the beginning. We brought that up in the beginning. The subconscious is constantly
exactly. That's
all in.
why I've gone that way. But in the 70s, for example, we didn't have this information overload that we have nowadays. So
we didn't have the internet, for example. I mean, 24-hour news channels and YouTube and all these other things where we're constantly. And if you look at the modern generations who live their lives in this environment, although their attention span is much shorter, are they absorbing? Well, they're being bombarded with a lot more information. Maybe certainly a lot more than we had at the younger age.
Mm-hmm.
I was just trying to grab one of the SPR journals because I know that up at Northampton, colleagues of our mutual acquaintance Cal have done several dream ESP studies. In fact, Cal himself did the one where he was floating around in a tank.
Oh yes.
And they did reach a similar conclusion. That their results correlated well with the earlier results, and that dream psi was demonstrable, wasn't governed by the experimenter or the laboratory or historical context.
Yeah. We could always call Cal up and see what he says.
Well, if he's asleep, he'd know that we're after him.
Yeah. I always knew that Cal was a floater. I'm just saying.
Again, that has different meanings.
I know. Anyway, we are coming up to So, anyways, there's a couple of interesting. Dreams can be a sign of anxiety and underlying stress. Whenever you are dreaming,
I don't know what you're reading, but it sounds very new age.
Whenever you are dreaming, it comes up. It comes to you consciously or unconsciously. It can show that how your life is going, something that is scary or haunting or destructive things can even give you a sign about it. Yeah, this sounds really hippy dippy, doesn't it?
Ron, are you reading Chat Magazine?
No. This is a reputable thing. It's the Mirror.
Sorry.
It does sound about
lost my cool there.
A dream analysis course, doesn't it?
This is it's got this guy here studied SOS Hermie Gurvey School of Government and City in Chittagong, lives in Bangladesh, and
wasn't he an ex-NASA scientist? Most of the rest of them are.
I think he was. I think he walked on the moon, but we don't know about it because that was part of the cigarette launch for Apollo 14, I think it was.
I see an immediate red flag with anything that starts with SOS. I'm sorry.
Anyways, yeah, it is interesting though. I don't know. It's there's other cool things. We are coming. Oh, here it is. See, here you go. You always dream. You just don't remember. 60% of people don't remember their dreams after 5 minutes of waking up. After 10 minutes of waking up, 90% of people have forgotten the details of their dream. So that actually sounds about right to me, anyways.
Hang on, Bob's knocked it off here.
You fall asleep?
No.
Bob,
give him a poke. Poke with a stick, see if he's still alive.
You can't poke a goldfish with a stick.
No?
Can you poke it with a ghost stick?
A ghost stick.
You can have the
But
ghost do it. You can go in a
we could
tank.
try. Yeah, we could definitely try.
You can have the ghost do it. Ghost has been very quiet tonight.
Wasn't there a Bob and Dexter? Didn't he get flushed down the toilet? Bob the goldfish.
How many fishes been flushed down the toilet? Do they go the right? Do they swirl right or do they swirl left? If they go swirl right, do they go to heaven? If they swirl left, do they go to hell?
No, you're referring to the coriander effect.
Oh, yeah. Very interesting. Well, I was just curious. You know, there's left magic and
Thrice widdershins round the kirk and the goldfish was gone.
yeah, poor thing. You didn't bury it in a shoebox in the yard? I mean, a matchbox?
Doesn't
Kind
give
of
it a chance.
humane person are you?
Who we brought to the world by this week, Ron?
I wouldn't know. I really wouldn't. I don't think anybody's going to back this show.
Something 86 Merrimack Street,
Yeah.
the old Andover, New England or something.
Anyways, we got to go to Lou, so we're going to take a break, and Steve's buying the next round, so we'll be back right after we hear from some people, I guess. I won't be here. I won't know. We'll be back.
He's forgotten the sponsors.
Do you have a paranormal event, book, or something else you want people to know about? Then why not advertise it on Ghost Chronicles Radio? With over 150,000 downloads a month, get your message out to an audience that's interested in the subject. We have a plan at a cost that fits your needs. For more information, contact Ron Kolick at anyghostproject@comcast.net or call 978-455-6678.
Located in Illinois, there lies a sleepy little town where nothing is a common occurrence.
You going to that party in town tonight?
Heck yeah! I only turned 18 once.
That is until the night of celebration.
Where the hell is she? Oh no. No, 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 Jessica!
What's happening?
From the creators of Shadowhunters, Bite Me, comes a tale of primal terror and grindcore mayhem. Shadowhunters, kill, Jessica, kill!
Oh, are you reading me? Come in. Hello? Greetings from the Shadow, and welcome to Shadowzine. My name is Jeff Belanger. I'm an author, podcaster, and explorer of the unexplained. For 30 years, I've been investigating the paranormal, UFOs, monsters, and things that bump in the night. Lately, you may have noticed how major TV networks and even social media networks have been pushing our favorite subject back into the shadows. I say good. That's why I launched Shadowzine, a monthly underground publication that covers your favorite topics in depth by some of the leading writers and researchers out there. If you're looking for 30-second TikTok clips, go somewhere else. If you're ready for a deeper dive, put down your phone and pick up Shadowzine. You can't find it in stores. This is old school print. Head to shadowzine.com and be part of the underground revolution. That's shadowzine.com, and I'll see you in the shadow.
the second half of the first half of tonight's 2 hours of Ghost Chronicles Mayhem. This is the international edition, brought to you from the four corners of the United Kingdom, Scotland and Wales anyway, and some guy in New England, and a goldfish called Bob, and a ghost that we haven't got a name for. And you think we're dreaming? Well, that went well.
I wanted to come out with a confused "you will be." Tune in next week for more soap. But that's that's kind of where that was going. But
I'm surprised Ron didn't jump in there. He hates dead air.
he does. I don't know where Ron is. I think we've lost Van Helsing, Steve.
No, I am here.
Ah, he's there.
I just love listening to you guys. That's my thing.
Yeah, but you're the host as well,
Yeah,
people,
but
people in
I-
America, they tune in to listen to your gravelly New England accent and the way you screw up everybody's names and words and
What are you
places.
saying, Steve? What are you saying?
No, just your mastery of the English language. It's legendary.
It's
So
certainly something.
legendary that whenever I invite a guest onto the show, the first thing I always do is warn them in advance that you're going to screw up the name.
No,
Steve
Yeah.
has an offline disclaimer.
he does, huh? Cigarette handshake disclaimer. Anyway, all right. So we put the dreams. You want anybody else want to mention anything about silly dreams? I mean, dreams. Excuse me. They're not silly.
Are we
No.
still on dreams?
No, I was getting rid of that.
Oh,
I
okay. Well,
I beat that one with the stick. I just wanted to make sure.
yeah.
I didn't leave anything out. That's all. I was just.
Well, that's good. Before we got to the advert selling, take Marcy's dream course. Buy my book.
I had a dream course once, but that wasn't my dream, so it didn't count.
It would surprise me. So what else have you been reading, Ron?
I haven't been reading anything really. That was it. That was all I had. So, there you go. But I don't know. It's
Actually, I wonder if AI dreams.
Oh, that's a scary thought.
What you ask
Isn't
him?
it? That is
Yeah.
that is a very scary
Steve's
thought.
got like the smartest AA in the world in his thing.
Who has?
Steve. Yeah. You should see what it said about me. It was just amazing how brilliant I was. It's true too.
Well, there you go. I've actually asked it. The answer is AI doesn't dream the way that humans do, but there is a metaphorical version that gets pretty close. Why AI doesn't dream? I don't sleep. I don't have consciousness, emotions, or an unconscious mind. I don't generate experiences of my own when offline. But here's the interesting part. There is something dreamlike about how AI works. When I generate text, I remix patterns from massive amounts of past data, use that to predict what comes next based on probabilities, and create novel combinations that weren't explicitly written. This is very similar to what dreams do, recombine memories into new narratives.
Yes.
Yeah. Jesus, Steve, do you want Skynet? Stop it. This is how we get Skynet. Stop now.
AI is terrifying, but I was one of the volunteers who we have access to a beta testing system, which is not,
as we say in America, better. A beta.
but it will be better because we're beta testing it.
Okay. Say so.
Steve, serious question here. Do you know why you can prove AI was not developed in Newcastle?
Go on.
Because it would be called AYI.
Aye.
Why
AYI?
Aye.
Sorry, I'm completely breaking the party up here.
The thing is, the interesting thing about AI is it's doomed to fail.
Oh,
because
no. It's doomed.
Well, it is. And one of because it can't really factor in the unpredictability of humans. For example, in the UK, quite recently, our government decided that they wanted to prevent young children from being radicalized with far right ideologies. So
Oh, all right.
they created an AI generated computer game for the kids to engage in.
Uh-oh.
And it presented them with a number of scenarios, and they would go they would go with a AI character called Amelia, who is a rather cool kid, but was a little bit right leaning. Well, they rolled this out, and the kids turned Amelia, the AI generated main character, into a meme and basically wrecked the whole thing. And there are many tens of thousands of these memes and videos now being touted around the internet. And the government are in apoplexy over this because this whole thing has been hijacked because you can't factor in the unpredictability. A few years ago, and they should have realized because a few years ago, they said, we'll let the British public vote on the name of our new Antarctic research vessel.
Yeah, we do that shit too.
Yeah. And what was the winning vote, Steve?
Was this the infamous Boaty McBoatface?
It was indeed.
What a way for the public to name a boat.
And it goes back even further because
it does.
In the census, one of the boxes says what religion you are, and if enough people tick a particular box, then the government will recognize that religion as being legitimate and genuine. Which it encountered the unresolvable human spirit of the British, and over 1.5 million people declared themselves to be Jedi Masters.
Yes, I did.
So did I. And so now, if you look down the list of officially recognized religions, Jedi Master is on the list.
Wow.
It's true.
I wish we could have done that. That was so cool.
There are parts of the world where AI might work. It would never work in Britain. Because whenever we're confronted with something like that, we will look for every opportunity to usurp it, undermine it, twist it, distort it, and play with it.
Generally extract the urine from it.
Yeah.
But
there was one Jedi Master to another.
But the thing is, though, AI can also control, which is the bad part, because now they're using it, as you know, in there, like they're probably monitoring the show, or actually you say anything on your computer, phone, or whatever, and you get inundated with things. So what's the next?
Oh, that's been going. No, that's not AI. Well,
yeah, it is. Don't tell me.
They're probably using AI. Yeah, but AI now, it's kind of like it's become the equivalent of putting E or I in front of things, like was all the fashion 20 years ago. They put E or I in front of a word because AI, our new AI software will allow you to create images. Or actually, AI is essentially just a dumb, very fast search engine. Because what it does is it zips around the internet and compiles bits here and there and throws them together in novel ways. And well, at least with the early AI that we're dealing with at the moment, perhaps in 50 years it may change, but it's just a glorified search engine. In effect.
I don't know.
No, it is. That's how it's functioning.
It's in combination with, basically supercomputers that can calculate and do mathematics as far as probabilities and all that.
I'm talking about human interaction with AI.
But it gathers the information. If there's anything, it's a surveillance device.
It's gathering the information, and it doesn't know how to put it together.
But supercomputers do, so they would just crunch the damn numbers.
Not yet, they don't.
A lot of them do.
It's the whole concept of intelligence is that you're able to gather information, but then apply it through the development of your own capability and skills. For me, that's what intelligence means, that I can go and research how to do something, then try and do it, then learn from my errors, then continually try to do it. Now, I don't know enough. I'm in no way connected to the modern world and computers in this respect. But as far as I'm aware, AI still requires that information to be there in order for it to work. It could not, for example, have created, it could not do what Michelangelo did or Da Vinci did and take the next step. It can only work within the parameters and the limits of the available knowledge.
It's improving with each iteration of of the software. But at the moment, it's still at the level of it's dumb. During some of the training exercises I've done with the AI, it's incredibly easy to outsmart it because it is so logical. It doesn't have the ability to think outside of the box, and it will get itself down a cul-de-sac very quickly. And then hopefully the idea is it's supposed to learn its way out, but it doesn't seem to. Or at least that's the versions of AI that the public will be using. Things like the spin-offs like ChatGPT or Grok. These. Incidentally, one of the tools used by AI for learning is sometimes when you access a website, and you will have seen this for about the last 10 years. You'll see a little box come up and it says, verify that you're human by ticking either reading these words or numbers, or tick all the boxes that contain a bicycle or a traffic light or
I hate that.
Yeah. Well, that has got very little to do with demonstrating you're human. What you're actually doing is teaching an AI bot, because those images that it's presenting are ones that it can't solve. So it's asking for human. What they've done is they've built it into this capture system. So you're training AI when you use those systems.
Yeah, you are training, but
because we are much better at pattern recognition than a computer is for certain tasks. Optical character recognition being one very, very good example of that. We can read text written by people with remarkably bad handwriting, or where big parts of a word are missing. So, for example, generally, the majority of us can read a word, providing we have some context, given only the first and last letter of the word. And that's why so many, when newspapers want to convey a word, but they don't want to, for different restrictions, put the word in, it will be A asterisk 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 E. And when we read it, or when we say it doesn't make sense, but when we read it, we go, oh yeah, arse. Because we can see that word in context.
Yeah, you read it in context to the words before and after. Your brain does that instantly. It's constantly, because that's another thing about the brain. The word we're looking at is not necessarily the word that's being absorbed by the brain, if I remember correctly. It's actually 2 or 3 words ahead of itself.
Yes, the brain is constantly ahead of us.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
trying to predict what's happening next.
Try to predict what's happening just about round the corner. So when we read a word, we have the context because the brain's already pre-read and has retained the post-reading. Therefore, it can supply it. That's why when you leave out the vowels in certain words, people can still read a sentence because the brain's already solved all this.
Why text speak works so well.
It says that AI can invent independently. Some AI specialized
some AI systems can.
such
because
as creativity. Dabus is a creative AI. It has produced novels designed for uh, items like food, containers, toothpaste, special antenna, without step-by-step human intervention.
Again, I don't find that too
Well, that's
unpredictable, Ron, because almost every book that could be written, I'm not saying every book that could be written, but almost every concept comes down to very fine and simple things. So you're either preparing, if we think about it in terms of food, you're either preparing an ingredient book or a recipe book. If you think about it in terms of literature, you have the hero's journey, you have the group quest, that type of thing. You know, in fantasy literature, that's kind of roughly what everything comes down to. So it's not impossible to see why things like AI could pull all that together, just grabbing what it can and produce something equal to it. We have had, and within my field of professional expertise, which is outside of what we're talking about here, we've noticed that a lot of graduates and students try to get AI to write some of their development reports. And it comes back, you can tell it's absolute gibberish because all it can take is pieces of what's already known and compile it together. And it's like trying to put three jigsaws together. Some parts of it seem to fit, but the context and the image isn't correct, or some parts of it don't fit, but the lines between the parts would flow. And it all kind of comes apart quite quickly. And you can tell that people are not, it just doesn't have that human element that makes things real. And I think that ties nicely back into the whole dream thing you were talking about. I mean, what do we think the world would be like if AI could dream?
Right. But perhaps it does. I mean, this one here, self-improving AI. Recent developments suggest AI models can create smaller, specialized AI applications without human supervision, moving towards self-evolving systems. So that's what you really talk about.
The key there is moving towards self-evolving systems.
That's
What
right.
you've got
So it's going in that direction.
yeah, but we back in the 1960s, as you well remember, Ron, there was
Rock on.
they used computers and they used computer software to predict flight paths and orbital velocities and orbital insertion points because they were following a logical pattern. And AI is very good at pattern recognition. AI is
but it can learn. That's the key here. AI can learn from
because it's modeling. They've applied AI to weather modeling, and it's terrible at it. It's terrible at it.
Well, no offense, but nobody's good at it. Maybe
no, but
it's Almanac. Maybe that's about
they compared it to the meteorological computer models that are currently in existence. They gave it that data as a learning tool, and AI was measurably worse at making a forecast based upon that data than the models were.
Yeah. Well, I can use a Ouija board and a magic 8 ball and come up with the weather patterns.
The magic 8 ball is a good reference, actually. So are we saying then that for example, things like prediction, that there will never be an AI that's capable of predicting anything because all it can do is look at historical data and then try to apply that? No, because what you were talking about earlier, Ron, was people who have dreams that predict the future, predict the sinking of the Titanic. Now, for example, statistically, logically, anyone who falls asleep and thinks about a big giant ship, there is a high probability that a certain percentage will automatically, depending on the state of their mind, think that that ship is going to sink. So I think the question I'm trying to raise here is, can AI predict, or does prediction need something more than that? Does it need, for example, a soul, a spirit, something driving it in order to make that happen? Is AI simply just a reinvention of historical information?
Well, prediction is the way in which weather forecasting is done. It looks at historical patterns compares the current pattern to historical, and then predicts based upon what happened last time the probability of what will happen next time.
Yeah. It's a logical probability.
Now, the computer models that are used by the Met Office and by NOAA in America and other organizations are actually really good at doing that now because they've been honed, they've been adapted and modified based upon outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, when they gave that to AI, it got it wrong.
Yeah. So even when given predictability, it still made a mess of it.
Yeah.
No, but that's humans have done the same damn thing. So it's I don't
Yeah,
think
but we've been doing the
and-
same damn thing for thousands of years, and we've
prediction-
learned from those mistakes. AI has only been
David
doing it
Scott,
for 5 minutes.
prediction is we don't know where that information comes from. Our mind may be connecting to a greater consciousness,
think,
which is basically a giant computer that is already foretold and seen everything, and it's just really just a window into the future.
Very new age, very good. But AI, I think, could reach that level. It could reach the level of an artificial intelligence, but I think it's got a ways to go. We've got what, 500,000 years head start on it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes back to what I said before. It can't deal with unpredictability because AI would never have thought of, oh, I'm going to call myself a Jedi Knight. I'm going to call that shit Boaty McBoatface.
So Ron, do you think some point in the future you will be able to log on and say, you'll hear that voice say, "Hi, I'm Bob, your AI medium goldfish. What would you like to know about the future?"
Well, as they say, you know, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. So finish your whiskey and beer. Yep, it is time for us to go. Good night, everyone, and thanks for stopping by the pub. We'll see you next time, first Wednesday of the month, right here on TochiNet Radio.
Still no sponsor information.
Good night.
Good night.